The club where we came up with the Blues Brothers was a speakeasy that I had in Toronto, and we had a party there, and we started to play old blues records, and I had a Downchild blues band. Put them on. He said, "Who's this?" I said, "Well, this is Downchild Blues Band, a local blues band." He said, "You're from Chicago." I said, "John, you should know about the blues." He said, "Well, I'm into Grand Funk and Allman Brothers." I said, "Well, that's all blues." And sort of I reacquainted him with blues, and he reacquainted me with sort of heavy metal. And Howard Shore was in the place that night. He eventually became musical director of Saturday Night Live. And we were saying, "Oh, we should put a band together." And he said, "Yeah, you could call yourself the Blues Brothers." Subsequently, that's what we did.
The Blues Brothers Band is an amazing group of musicians, and basically it's a Memphis rhythm section with a New York horn section. And the idea of taking that kind of fatback rhythm and putting slick New York horns on top of it, combined with the special vocals and harp playing of Dan Aykroyd, was really amazing. They were a great band and great to listen to. If you listen to the records, you can hear them doing great stuff.
We tried to, pick blues songs that weren't Delta blues. We've never been a Delta blues band, and Delta blues is the primitive rural blues. We were always a Chicago electrified urban blues band fused with the Memphis Stax Volt movement. And so I think what we try to do is represent that in the movie is the best way we could.
And part of the success of the Blues Brothers, here were two actors playing singers, and they successfully, obviously I can say this now in hindsight, but the creation of the mythology of these characters has been very strong, very successful. I mean, to the point where it's kind of scary, where I meet people who tell me, Jake and Elwood Blues are these, legendary blues artists. And I think, uh-oh.
The band has a lot of meaning for me, obviously, from an emotional sense. We loved doing the first movie. We did 3 albums. We did the first record, Briefcase Full of Blues. We did the soundtrack, and we did the Made in America album.
Won't you welcome from Calumet City, Illinois, the show band of Jolie and Jake and Elwood Blues, the Blues Brothers.
Aykroyd and Belushi had signed a deal with Atlantic Records, and there was some excitement about it at the studio.
They forced us to do the movie. We were in a situation where the Blues Brothers was a development deal.
I really didn't know how to write movies. I didn't know anything. I don't think I'd ever even seen a screenplay. I was told that most screenplays were, 120 to 150 pages long, but when I sat down to write the Blues Brothers, there were so many descriptive passages in there, just paragraphs and paragraphs of shots, of concept, of ideas, of descriptions, and eventually it just kind of ballooned up.
Dan Aykroyd had written actually a 324-page script that actually had a story for recruiting each member of the band individually.
We called it The Return of the Blues Brothers, and basically it was 2 scripts. It was the original and a sequel, and that's why it came out to 300 plus pages.
It had great ideas and epic characters and a real respect for the music, and it was pretty, it was big. It was big.
Now that script, which by the way was delivered to me in the covers of the Valley Yellow Pages, because it was as big as a phone book, so I think Dan Aykroyd tried to take a little of the sting out with a little humor, actually making it look like a phone book.
When I handed it in, I didn't know what Landis was going to do with it or how he's going to manage it down, but he was an accomplished filmmaker. He had written scripts before, and he was able to take it and distill it down to an actual form of screenplay at 120 pages.
We started shooting before we had a finished screenplay, really.
It's a good movie. It's about Chicago. It's about music. It's
about 2 hours.
There's no sex and no drugs in the movie.
We were fortunate enough to find the Dixie Mall in Harvey, Illinois. This was an abandoned mall. It was a 1 in a million. I mean, you just don't go around finding these things abandoned. And in fact, we felt like archaeologists from the 31st century or something, going into this place with our flashlights. All the power was off, dust flying everywhere, and the place had been closed for over a year.
I'm proud to say we were the first movie to trash a mall, because I thought, And so that sequence came out of Location Scout.
It was just perfect for what we wanted. And we ended up shooting there for I think a week.
I do remember that Danny Aykroyd thought that shooting at that mall was just one of the greatest things he'd ever seen, that he'd thought this up, and here it was, this bizarre car chase combining, consumer goods and police cars, and his own mall. And I'll never forget just the sheer delight that this idea he'd had late one night was now being played out in a very big way.
I remember there was a specific thing where we wanted to drop the Pinto belonging to the Illinois Nazis past the sky. You wanted to see it fall past the skyline. And so how we were going to do that was actually drop the Pinto from a helicopter. We had to have the Ford Pinto certified by the FAA. They actually wanted to know about its unairworthiness because they were afraid it might have, be like an airfoil and somehow in the middle of the drop go sailing off over Lakeshore Drive. So we had to do drop tests where we dropped the Pinto from the helicopter, had to hit a specific place. We were using the area where they store salt that gets spread during the snowstorms of the winter, that has nothing on it during the summer and is away from a populated area, although it is within the city. And so we proved to the FAA in the city that we could hit a mark, and we dropped this Pinto and it fell right on the X where we wanted it and flattened it. It was about this high when we got done with it. But that's how we were able to do that shot.
I've always loved you.
There are certain singers, B.B. King, Aretha Franklin, who have trouble with lip sync and to playback. And the reason for that is interesting. It's because they never sing a song the same way twice. So it's quite great if you're seeing them live, but if you're trying to shoot them to playback, it's a huge pain in the ass, because it's like, what is your mouth doing?
The only problem that you have editing musical numbers is, do performers do it the same way, take after take? And can they lip sync their dialogue, their song, especially if they're the ones that have made the song famous? I'm not going to mention any names here.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me, yeah. Think, let your mind go, let yourself be free. Let's go bang, let's go bang, let's go well.
Aretha sang Think, and she sang Think because I love that song and I wanted her to sing Think. And a lot of people said, how come she didn't sing Respect?
30 years ago when we did it in '67, it was just a groovy song that expressed some of my sentiments, personal sentiments. And yes, it became an anthem.
I said when I woke up this morning, I heard a disturbing sound. What I heard was the jingle jangle of 1,000 lost souls.
The James Brown scene that takes place in the church, we found that James couldn't sing the same way twice. And so what we did is we took the track, the music itself, and that was done to playback, and people sang to playback except for James Brown, and we recorded his lead vocal live.
Now let us reach and hold, stop to breathe, and hold. Preach, hear it, heard, and will. It will, it will.
They were not easy numbers to cut. Lots of takes, lots of different camera angles to choose from, performance variations. Those are hard days to shoot those scenes, and I think they looked pretty good.
When you shoot someone live, lip sync's not a problem because they're live. In the first movie, John Lee Hooker is live, James Brown was live, Ray Charles was playback, Aretha was playback, and all the Blues Brothers stuff was playback. But it really makes no difference because you the artists are the ones who perform it regardless. It's for technical reasons whether it's live or not.
Walked through a party in a county jail. Prison man was there and it began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard this knocked out jailbird sing, let's rock.
It's always frustrated me that many people don't consider the movie a musical, which makes me nuts, because it has more music than most musicals.
He's not denying that they're car chases. Of course they're car chases. But there was a rhythm to them. They were musical numbers. They were production numbers. And if you just listen to the scoring and look at what you're seeing on the screen, those cars were dancing, baby. Those cars were dancing.
He's a great director. He's like a directing animal. He's like an animal. If there was an animal called a director, it would be John Landis.
John Belushi said something to me one day that turns out to be quite funny in retrospect. He says, Bones, I'm going to make you the most famous trombone player since Jimmy Dorsey. And I never had the heart to tell him that Jimmy Dorsey was a saxophone player.
You create a world completely from the ground up. You make your own universe. And the Blues Brothers is its own universe. It's its own mythology.
I would have never imagined that 17 years later I would still be playing with the same guys.
Dan Aykroyd has helped blues probably more than anybody, and John Belushi if he hadn't died. I think from that first movie, there was some criticism given to John and Danny, but they've done more for blues than anybody in the last 20 years.
All blues music has great humor in it, and just the rhythms and the the feeling of joy that comes from singing it and playing it. I think we viewed all of it as being able to be relatively easily transmitted out there to the audience, and it ignited us, and therefore we felt that we could probably ignite an audience with it.
Certainly something, I did something right, because people love these characters, and they're wonderful ththings in the movie. And I have to say that, you know, Dan Aykroyd's passion for rhythm and blues and basically black American music, one of the things the movie did quite successfully was draw attention back to these great artists. And you talk to James Brown or Aretha Franklin or any of these people, and they'll tell you their careers were revitalized, you know, and I'm proud of that. You know, I really am proud of that.
It broadened my audience, and it certainly introduced people to me who were not aware of who I was.
As soon as I got with the Blues Brothers band and we did the Blues Brothers movie 1, I couldn't believe how I was accelerated, man.
I just knew we were making a great movie. In my heart, I knew. And even though maybe the reviews weren't great, and people said it wasn't going to do well, I knew it was going to last forever.
I know the fans are there. There's, without question, the fans are there. And they go crazy when we go open a House of Blues and there's 2,000 people and they're all going nuts. I mean, they love this band.
My wife and I were at Epcot Center, and it was about 11 o'clock at night. It was getting kind of dark. And this guy yells, "Man, Murphy Dunn, man. It's Murphy. Is that you?" And I said, "Yeah, what are you gonna do?" He said, "Oh no, I'm not gonna, can I touch you?" I said, "Yeah." It's like, "Hi, how are you?" Yeah, it just knocks me out when it happens.
It's funny though, this one appearance, when I hold up that prophylactic, I'm telling you, it's weird. People still talk to me about it to this day, and they say it cracked them up.
Every now and again, even on the street or somewhere, it's, "Hey, it's the Penguin," which is great fun.
The movie is very much like Dragnet, you know, Jack Webb, very straightforward. Thank you, ma'am. Yep.
The Blues Brothers is a movie that, for whatever reasons, wherever I go all over the world, people love that movie, and these things take on a life of their own.
I'm one of his biggest fans. I think he's one of the great filmmakers of our age. He certainly made some of the best pictures of our time.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it.